Hey guys, what's up? Let me just share my screen and let's come to our trade. I'm audible, right, guys? Chat पे डाल दो यार if I'm audible, not audible. Let me see. I am trading from my terrace. Try to get some sun. All right. All right, cool. So guys, this is the position. If you guys remember, you guys can watch the older videos. We put this on. Market has just gone straight down. Um, every day since we put this position on, almost every day since we put this position on, I think we've had like eight sessions, out of which like seven of them the market has closed in the red. And every one of these days, what we've seen is there's a lot of intraday volatility. Like market's gone down by at least 1% and then comes back up. In fact, in the morning when I sent the message to you guys, I think the market was still down close to 1% or something like that. So lots of intraday volatility. I just um, I will, whenever I take these trades on, whenever I adjust, I'll do it in the last half an hour, more because of convenience than anything else. Just, I don't like looking at the market during the day. I have other things to do. So, since we put this position on, the market has gone straight down. We were short gamma, which means that as the market goes down, we start getting longer and longer. Gamma hurts us, right? So that's what we see over here. We have a delta of 0.3. So we are long 0.3 futures. And ideally, what I try to do in a disciplined manner is I try to maybe adjust deltas once a week, because this is the position I put on 2 months forward. I don't need to be looking at it every second, every minute, and then I don't need to be adjusting my deltas very aggressively. I'm okay with taking a little bit of variance that comes. In fact, technically, I'm okay with this position also. I'm not really, I'm, um, I wouldn't really hedge this at the moment. Um, just because that is my risk preference. If you guys have seen, um, guys from the first batch will know that delta hedging just reduces variance, right? If you're okay with variance, you can do this. Yes, variance um, does have a drag in your profitability, but a lot of the times it just comes down to, as a retail trader, do you want to be trading more often or not? Um, what is the trade-off for you as a retail trader? I just try to like embrace the variance to some extent, and I'll be like, okay, dude. And it's a small position, right? If it's a large position, like I said, back in the day when we used to trade with a much, much larger position, manage a book worth tens of millions of dollars, we would hedge every day. Like we would hedge our deltas every day, right? Because um, trading was cheap and it made more sense to get rid of variance um, than keep it. So let's look at a couple of ways of, if you guys are familiar with the Algo platform, we have a feature which is called square of complete and re-entry ASAP. So, and now you'll see why that actually works, right? So in a way, what's happening is, if in the algo, I had put, this position on and I had put like an overall M2M, a stop loss with an overall M2M loss of, let's say 4,000 rupees, wo to pehle hi, I guess, rebalance ho jata. But I could have done that, So essentially put an overall M2M of 4,000 rupees and then done re-entry ASAP. Um, yeah, square of complete and re-entry ASAP. If you would have done that, then what would have happened is, I'll only illustrate it with the short legs. So I would have bought my short legs and then I would have re-entry ASAP, this guy. I would have done this, right? This is what my position would have looked like. I have, let me also, in the interest of being theoretically correct, let's do this also. Let's make sure we actually get to flat deltas here, right? So, kya kiya tha? I bought like 7 delta or something, right? So let's do this and then let's do this. So this is what my position would look like now. I've essentially just restriked. And if there was VRP present when I sold it the first time around, right? It was, I sold it at around 13.5 IV. And now I'm selling it at a much higher implied volatility. So what you can see, what you're seeing here is I'm selling it at 2 points higher. So I'm confident that, hey, the VRP still exists. Yes, my position is bleeding a little bit. But like this can get me to flat delta. So this is one way of structuring the position. Another way could be, where I say, you know what, I want to trade less. So I just cleared all my trades right now, and I want to trade a little less. This is where most of my delta is coming from, right? I sold this option when it was 30 delta. Now it's 50 delta. And then what I can do is, let me just buy this. Now I'm short 20 deltas. And I'm just going to show you different ways, different trade-offs that exist here, right? So I bought this option back, and now I'm like, you know what, I don't want to trade too much. I'll just be like, you know what, let's just flatten our delta a little bit. And now I flattened my delta. I have a much wider sort of break-even wiggle room. Right, I have restriked and I have flat delta, but my max profit is much lower than in the previous case. But what I get with that reduced max profit is a much higher range of the underlying. So I'm less, so in volatility speak, I'm less vulnerable to path dependency in this case, as opposed to in the previous case. So yahan pe my break even is between like 3.5% to 7%. In the other scenario, my break even was, let's get rid of this, buy, sell, and then I did this, and then I did 30, and then buy 7, and then buy 7 delta here. This is what I was doing in the previous case. Let's do this, right? So my break even is a lot less wide, but I get to make more money in this way, right? Both things get me to a flat delta, but one thing gets me to one way I get like a much wider profile. So I'm less vulnerable to path dependency, right? I still have path dependency. That is something that exists. If you're trading options for volatility, you're going to get that path dependency. What else could I do? I could even, I could even add to my position. So, sec. So if I have more sort of capital in my, just one sec, guys. Where is my show meeting? Where is that? Okay, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I could even add to this position if I want to, if I have more margin in my account, which I actually do. So I could even add to this position from the perspective that, I sold at a 13.5 vol. Now vol has gone up. I'm bleeding, of course. I'm bleeding because of volatility going up, and I'm also bleeding because the stock has just gone in one direction. So I've gotten hit from both angles. So what I can also do is I can be like, chal 13 pe becha tha, 15 ho gaya. If 13 was a good sell, then 15 is a much better sell. Right. So if I have the ability to take that risk, I could take that extra risk also. Now that doesn't mean if like it goes to 50, 50 is also a good sell then, right? This is more just like I have some more bullets in my chamber, so I could fire another one and be like, you know what, let's see what we get. So what would I do then? I can do something like, screw it, let's sell another 30 delta guy over here, and then maybe I'll sell like a 45 delta over here. Okay, so now what I'm essentially like trimming my delta a little bit over here. I've like halved my delta risk. But I've added to my Vega exposure. So I'm saying que, and I guess I can buy wings if I want to. I don't really want to buy wings. I don't really care about this. You should. I mean, if this is your only account and this is the only trade that you're putting on, this is the first time you're doing this. For a retail trader, wearing the hat of a retail trader, you can trim risk by buying the wings. this is a much bigger account, and I have like some other positions that are also running in this account, and I can take this. It's not that much of a leverage. So this is another way to sort of play this and be like, you know what, if 13 was a good sell, 15 is a much better sell. If nothing fundamentally has changed in the market, right? Any questions, guys? Should I rebalance? इसमें कर दें क्या? Questions, guys. Questions. Chat, unmute, whatever you guys want. We have some time. Same is going in my strategy. So guys, this is not a recommendation, ठीक है ना? This is just an illustration, and I'm a little loose with my capital. I have other sort of trading that's happening across the board. So I'm a little loose with my capital. That doesn't mean you should be. See that these trades that I'm putting on are more to illustrate the concept. ठीक है ना? And actually, the best way to illustrate the concept is actually put the position on and take the risk. Take the risk where there is some edge, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll take the variance in the trade. But guys how many of you guys trade algo test using algos? 920 जो template है हमारा. चलो, let's put this on, man. Let's restrike a little bit. Maybe I'll be like, चल यार थोड़ा और वो कर देते हैं instead of ठीक है 15 delta I'm okay with. Bro, if I'm okay with 30 delta, I'm okay with 15 delta also, just thinking out loud. I only just done these two trades. What the hell? Yeah, I'm only doing these two trades. Okay, cool. So I'm adding to my risk a little bit over here. I'm trimming down my delta risk. I'm adding to my Vega risk, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take this exposure. Let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. तो LTP हमारी प्राइस है, सेल ऑर्डर हो गया, didn't need to modify anything. Okay, so this is what the position looks like now. I've added to my risk. If bloody VIX spikes up another 3-4 points, then I'll decide whether I want to add more or not. Probably not, but who knows? उस time mood करेगा तो कर लूँगा. Let me stop sharing this. So notice, guys, at no point is the PNL affecting my yeah, you can, Siddharth. You can fire directly from Algo Test to Zerodha. Just search for Zerodha in the text box. You'll find it. How about selling a call or a bear call spread to? Yeah, you could do that as well, Ziad. You could do that as well. This is one of those things like I want you to get an intuition. Like the reason behind this course is a why. Like why are you doing this? So I want to make sure that every decision that I'm making, there is a why associated with it. And it has to be a logical why. And this is not the wrong answer. This is not a wrong answer. Yeah, I can handle the variance. I'll do it. Right? This is also not a wrong answer, because as long as you know Zerodha hai, Arshit, it's there. Just search for Zerodha in the text box. It'll come as an unnamed broker, but you'll find it. If you have a Zerodha API, you can connect. And any other broker who's not listed on the platform, there is some adapter or the other that we've used to connect to them. So you can technically do it. Only I have question that we do not have IV behavior graph with respect to underlying movement speed. So yeah, IV graph, we have the data. We are just working on a way to get you to visualize it. And IV is also a weird thing, because if I graph the IV, so we are actually figuring out what's the best way to show that. Because if I graph the IV of an at the money straddle, the ATM strike changes, and then as days to expiry reduce, the IV start changing. You don't really need to worry about in these kinds of trades. So Viral is asking, I have only problem with speed of IV movement. So here's what I'll say. Speed of IV is a lot higher. Like wall of wall is a lot higher. Speed of IV is also wall of wall. Volatility of volatility. Volatility of implied volatility. So it's a lot higher when days to expiry are less. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that problem. And you notice I put this position on, the market has just gone straight down, and I've haven't really cared very much for it. We still have enough Vega exposure. We still had enough Vega exposure in this position. And yeah, like the gamma of this trade versus the gamma of a trade which is 0 DTE, there's a huge difference, which is why I was like, you know what, I can just let my deltas ride a little bit more. So IV is not going to change as much in these kinds of trades. It will change a lot more if you're doing 0 DT. सागर इज आस्किंग एनी टाइम बेस्ड स्ट्रेटजी। यार कोई टाइम बेस्ड, मैं टाइम बेस्ड करनी है सीजे से बात करो, वो टाइम बेस्ड का मास्टर है वो। he's got like so many permutations and combinations of time based strategies running. Total master है वो उसका. Anyway guys, so this is the position now. We'll watch it a little bit more. That's we'll watch it a little bit more. Hopefully the market just doesn't start tanking. अभी तो ऐसा ही लग रहा है कि भाई नीचे ही जाने वाली है market. Oh well, we'll write the variance. We still have 38 days to go over here. And so were you part of the first batch, Viral? Yeah. So in the case of short gamma, right, like for this trade, as IVs increase, so in this trade, let me actually answer your question. So he's saying we want more clarity in delta and IV correlation. So here, you should look at the risk management wale lessons, and we're going to do it again in this batch. But the fact that we were short gamma means that as market goes down, and these are all independent variables, they do work together, but in our case, these are kind of working independently. Okay, as the market went down, we started accumulating long deltas. That is a consequence of being short gamma. That is a reality of being short gamma, that as the market goes down, you're given the position you exactly don't want. As the stock moves around, तुमको वही position मिलती है जो भैया तुमको चाहिए ही नहीं. ठीक है? As the market went down, you started. Yes, Prateek, the recording will be available. Anyway, so yeah, Akshan, so what if it does tank more? What will be the plan thereafter? We will take M2M loss in any worst case. I probably won't. I'll just keep hedging my delta. At some point, maybe if it, I don't know, if it gets to like 10K, I'll be like, chal, yeah, let's get out. But I'm, again, like, we look at realized volatility as well. We look at what the market is doing. I know everybody wants to systematize this, but before systematizing it, I want you guys to actually feel different scenarios. Abhi kya hua hai, we put the position on, the market has gone straight down. We still have 38 days to go. It could be that the market rallies all the way back up. Who the hell knows, right? We just have to, we've put this position on. Yeah, we've put this position on. We are going to manage this position, and that's what we are going to focus on. And notice my, like I said, right, everything that I've said today, my PNL had no bearing on the decisions that I've made. Okay. I haven't talked about, अरे यार इतना loss हो गया, इतना M2M हो गया, चलो काटो. I'm just saying कि यार, I put the position on. I had an idea कि यार there is edge in this position, so I put the position on. Remember lesson 1 guys, edge का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हर ट्रेड में तुम पैसे कमाओगे. ठीक है, तो position डाली, लगा edge है, but the position went against us. Now I am looking at the risk that the position has accumulated, and I'm like, am I being paid for any of these risks? No. The delta risk that I accumulated, I'm like, I'm not being paid to take this delta risk on. Okay, so why should I keep it on? So then I'm like, okay, you know what, let me trim my delta a little bit. Secondly, what risk am I actually being paid to take? The risk I'm paid to take here is my Vega risk, right? So then I'm like, okay, you know what, if 13 was a good sell, I'll probably do 15. 15 is a much better sell based on that thesis. And my thesis could be wrong. ऐसा नहीं in this particular trade that my thesis is correct. ठीक है ना? But my previous thesis was कि यार if 13 is a good sell, then probably 15 is a better sell if nothing fundamentally has changed in the market. You could argue that something fundamentally has changed in the market. FIRs छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. मतलब ये सारे narratives हैं. मैं narratives पे जा ही नहीं रहा. मैं तो बस इस trade को isolation में देख रहा हूँ कि यार ये मेरी VRP trade है. मैंने कितना 8 साल का डेटा आप लोगों के साथ शेयर किया था कोर्स में कि यार ये देखो, एंड उसको हम डैशबोर्ड में लेके आ रहे हैं. ठीक है ना? तो ऑन एवरेज आईवी इज ग्रेटर देन आरवी. तो उसके बेसिस पे मैंने ये ट्रेड डाली. एंड ये जो मार्केट में नैरेटिव्स वगैरह चल रहे हैं, ये मतलब देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ नॉइज. समटाइम्स द नॉइज हैज सिग्नल, बट आई डोंट रियली, द सिग्नल टू नॉइज रेशियो आई डोंट नो. ठीक है ना? सो आई एम नॉट इवन फोकसिंग ऑन दैट. आफ्टर यू क्लास आई एम इन प्रॉफिटेबल विद फियर ऑफ आईवी. इसका क्या मतलब है विरल? अनम्यूट करके बता दो. We want to learn how to sustain long positions in IV trading and manage psychology effectively. Okay, so see, again, guys, like the point of this course is to do a deep dive into looking at options with a volatility lens. ठीक है ना? And then just my goal is to just show you these different paths that exist. ठीक है ना? मैं तुमको नहीं बता सकता कि ये पाथ तुम्हारे लिए सही है, ये पाथ तुम्हारे लिए सही है. एंड जो बंदा बता रहा है वो तुमको एक पाथ बताता है, वो पाथ काम करना बंद कर देता है, तो आपको लॉस लग जाता है. ठीक है? तो ये मतलब दिस इज नॉट अ ट्रेडिंग कोचिंग कोर्स फ्रॉम दैट परस्पेक्टिव. ठीक है? दिस इज मोर जस्ट ट्रेडिंग इज हार्ड. मैंने पहले ही बोला था इतना आसान नहीं है ऑप्शन ट्रेड करना. ठीक है ना? तो अगर आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो कि मैं एक स्ट्रैटेजी दे दूंगा एंड वो स्ट्रैटेजी चलेगी अगले 5 साल तक, ऐसा नहीं होएगा. ठीक है ना? मैं तुमको सारे पाथ्स दिखा रहा हूं ताकि तुम फिर अपने आप अपनी डिसीजन मेक कर सको कि भाई ये पाथ मेरे लिए सही है, यार ये पाथ मेरे लिए सही है. टूल तुम्हारे लिए है. मैंने तुमसे पैसे इसलिए लिए कि टूल तुमको खुल्लम खुल्ला मिल जाए. ठीक है ना? अब यहाँ पे व्हाट एल्स कुड यू डू? यू कुड एक्चुअली गो टू द सिम्युलेटर. यू कुड essentially run my position using the simulator and see यार what was I actually what else could have I done. अगर मैं पहले उसको rebalance कर लेता, would that have been better? ठीक है ना? So there's a lot of things you can do with the tools that we've given you. And yeah, so my goal is to show you the path. You're the one who has to take that path. ठीक है? Everybody has a different path. Everybody has a different risk tolerance. Everybody has different capital. So which is why I never answer this question also when people say कि यार minimum capital कितना चाहिए इसके लिए. मैं बोलूंगा यार जीरो से भी तुम शुरू कर सकते हो, क्योंकि फॉरवर्ड टेस्ट करके देख लो. गोल तो तुम्हारा ये सीखो. गोल तुम्हारा ये है कि मेरे से जितना तुम जूस निकाल सकते हो लर्निंग के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, उतना जूस निकालो मेरे से. दैट इज वेर योर ROI will be positive. Share. भाषण ओवर. स्टॉप शेयर. ऑलराइट गाइस, एनी मोर क्वेश्चंस? 5 मिनट और हैं. नंदेश ठाकुर इज आस्किंग आरवी क्या? चलो आरवी निकाल के देख लेते हैं. लेट मी शेयर. हु रिमेंबर्स आरवी कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं? यहीं आ जाते हैं. वन कैलकुलेशन इज, and we've actually written an API for this. इसको अभी we're just going to expose this the RV calculation in a dashboard. I know I've been saying this for a month now, but आने ही वाला है. चलो निफ्टी 50 एक महीने का डेटा डाल लेते हैं और फिर let's download the CSV. चौदह फरवरी. अभी यहाँ पे 17 फरवरी डाल देते हैं. ये हमने खुद डाल दिया. सो इस बैच में एक चीज हम और क्या करेंगे, वी आर गोइंग टू, आई एम गोइंग टू गेट यू ऑल टू कैलकुलेट दिस आरवी बाय फर्स्ट प्रिंसिपल rather than just using standard deviation formula. कौन बात कर रहा है यार, म्यूट कर दो अपने आप को. So this is if I'm like aggressively delta hedging, the standard deviation does kind of make sense. Um, so this is the RV. Let's change something. या mute कर दो यार. Participants, mute all. Mute all. Unmute yourselves and then answer, guys. We will put this position on what, on 6th Feb, right? 6th Feb. So this is one version of realized volatility. Let's look at another version of realized volatility, um, which is the one that doesn't use the standard deviation. ठीक है, recent में होएगा मेरे को. Just copy the formula. Open recent. Memory. यहाँ पे हम डालेंगे अब same. We'll compare this to this, which is I7 से I17 से I23. तो 17 से 3 I से I23. तो यहाँ पे 10 दिखा रहा. ठीक है, तो व्हाट हैज एक्चुअली हैपेंड, आईवी हैज गॉन अप, तो मेरा वेगा पीएनएल ने मार पड़ी है, एंड द स्टॉक हैज गॉन इन जस्ट वन डायरेक्शन. सो मेरे डेल्टा पीएनएल से मार पड़ी है मेरे को. ठीक है, लेट्स इंक्रीज दिस. And there's a sampling angle here, right? If I increase the sampling period, basically अगर मैं ये 4th Feb when the market moved 1.6% close to close, my RV jacks up, right? But still the two methods have a difference. So we are going to do a deep dive into these two different ways of calculating RV in this batch. Last batch में हमने नहीं किया था. Now the question is, when the market prices these options, right? What is the sample that they use? So, एक सेकेंड, मार्केट कौन सा सैंपल यूज करती है भाई आरवी निकालने के लिए? दैट्स एन इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन. Somebody is asking in the chat. Vikrant, which RV gives better results? RV 30, 50, 100 for trades having approximately 45 to 50 days to expiry. I would probably say, use one value of RV and keep it consistent for your at least. नहीं, हिस्टोरिकल आईवी का मतलब आरवी नहीं है. आरवी यार ये आई गेस थोड़ा मिक्स एंड मैच हो रहा है ना दोनों बैचेस का. तो इफ यू आर नॉट नंदेश, यू आर नॉट फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट बैच, तो सेकंड बैच में इसको हम थोड़ा वो करेंगे, क्या कहते हैं, डीमिस्टिफाई करेंगे. हिस्टोरिकल आईवी का क्या मतलब है, आरवी का क्या मतलब है, आरवी का क्या मतलब है. ठीक है, to answer your question, Vikrant, which RV gives better results, 30, 50? I would probably say, you use one and you keep using that one. इतना दिमाग मत लगाओ इसमें कि because they'll all behave kind of similarly. And you're better off like trying to use one and then just like I use RV30 for the most part. And जो मैंने and they all kind of like are somewhat correlated with each other. So instead of like trying to be very precise, कि नहीं मैंने 45 days to expiry का मैंने ट्रेड डाली है तो there's 45 days to go, तो मैं RV 45 यूज करूंगा, वो भी कर सकते हो। बट 45 में वर्सेस 44 में वर्सेस 42 में कोई ज्यादा इतना डिफरेंस होने नहीं वाला। ठीक है जी, चलो guys, I'm gonna stop this now. Let's look at our position once. Just to एक बार I'll just share my screen one last time to look at our position. Share. ये हमारी पोजीशन है अब, ठीक है ना। एक सेकेंड, लेट मी जस्ट रिफ्रेश। मेरा लैपटॉप बहुत स्लो हो गया। So Akshansh is asking, will we be learning RV forecasting? So यार again, this is a very deep topic, ठीक है ना। RV forecasting, the easiest forecast for RV today is the RV yesterday, ठीक है। This is why? Because volatility clusters in the short run. So I don't know if we'll get into RV forecasting in this course. I doubt it. The way this course has been structured is more around the why. Why do options behave the way they do? And VRP 6th Feb, ये वाली चल रही है. So this is what our position looks like, guys. I like looking at this option chain wala view. At some point, I might do a deep dive on RV forecasting, but it's not going to happen as part of this course. उसके scope से बाहर है। हम तो अभी ये बोल रहे हैं कि यार IV is a predictor for us, ठीक है ना, and IV is occasionally, almost always, overpricing the RV. So we are using IV as a predictor for RV. So we are using IV as a forecast for IV in this course, ठीक है। There are other people who do it differently. Everybody has their own, big funds have their own way of figuring out the forecast for RV. But anyway, this is what the position looks like, guys. थोड़ा हमने रिस्क थोड़ा और ऐड किया है। डेल्टा लेके चल रहे हैं हम अभी इसमें, एंड अगर मार्केट नीचे जाती है वील हेज अगेन अगर मार्केट और नीचे जाती है, ठीक है। मे बी लाइक व्हेन देयर इज 30 days to expiry, like 30 calendar days to expiry, then I'll decide whether I want to keep this position or I want to move it on to the next expiry then. That's another sort of factor to consider, because as time to expiry reduces, मेरा गामा बढ़ता रहेगा, and उसमें मेरे मेरे गामा लेने का कोई इतना खास इंटरेस्ट है नहीं अभी। Alright guys, I'm going to end this now. I'll share this recording in a bit, ठीक है। See you guys on unless something crazy happens and I decide to rebalance again, I'm not going to do this live session for the rest of this week. And we'll connect again on Friday, ठीक है। बाय। हर्षद, मेरा क्वेश्चन, क्या क्वेश्चन था यार तुम्हारा? हाउ डू यूज आरवी? यार इसका यही आंसर है ना अभी के लिए तो, कि वी आर लुकिंग एट आरवी टू सी, टू सॉर्ट ऑफ कोरिलेट आर पीएनएल, कि यार कहाँ से लॉस आ रहा है हमको। अभी हमको वेगा से लॉस आ रहा है एंड हमको डेल्टा से लॉस आ रहा है, ठीक है। प्रैक्टिकली आरवी कैसे यूज करना है अभी के लिए, तो हम हाउ आर वी यूजिंग आरवी प्रैक्टिकली राइट नाउ? वी आर सेइंग कि यार आरवी इज गोइंग टू बी लेस देन आईवी. We are looking at IV and we are saying that my RV forecast is less than what the market is giving me in IV on average. So I'm going to put a trade on. And that's the only way we are using RV right now. Yeah, I'm using delta gamma sort of interchangeably here. The point of calculating here is कि यार somebody asked me RV क्या चल रहा है, मैंने कहा RV कैलकुलेट करके दिखा देता हूँ, ठीक है। एंड अगर RV, if the RV was really that high, that would be another sort of source of our loss in P&L, right? So the market is actually pricing the IV increase based on the movement in the underlying, which directly comes from the RV. ठीक है, तो मार्केट ने जब IV increase करी है, there is some reason for increasing the IV, and one of the reasons is कि whatever the sampling period that the market is using as consensus for अभी realized volatility क्या चल रही है, whatever that sampling period is, उसके basis पे prediction ये है कि यार अभी और volatility आएगी, जिसकी वजह से IV बढ़ गई है, मतलब और volatility market में आएगी, which is realized volatility. ठीक है. Bro, options are a very complex instrument. ठीक है ना? They have convexity and they have leverage and they have all these different things that are interacting with each other. ठीक है, अभी तो हमने सिर्फ एक ही सेकंड ऑर्डर ग्रीक की बात करी है, which is gamma. Option positions are affected by all sorts of like other weird sensitivities also. ठीक है ना? So it just depends on how deep do you want to go, because the rabbit hole goes very very deep. So यहाँ पे अगर मेरे पास 10 measurements हैं and 8 of them are irrelevant, 2 of them are relevant, I'll still do those 10 measurements to see अरे यार कुछ effect आ रहा है उससे नहीं आ रहा है. Anyway guys, I'm gonna go, so I'll share this recording soon and let's see how this position evolves. I've added to the risk. Maybe I'm wrong because the market is saying कि भाई risk बढ़ गई है. Yeah, so it'll take time guys, it'll take time. It's not, Rajiv, it's not going to be overnight. ठीक है ना? मतलब मुझे अभी भी like there's new things I learn about options every day, like something or the other new is um like I'm still learning as well. I know probably more than you guys from a wall lens, but there's just like so much more to learn. ठीक है, चलो. All right guys, I'm out. See you guys.